County Executive Office. Would you please describe one or two of your most important initiatives that you'd like to see take place should you be elected as County Judge Executive?
Okay, obviously, a couple of my things would obviously be, more jobs, and how I think that we could create these more jobs would be e-commerce jobs, because that's one of the fastest growing industries in the world. So we could, we're obviously got high-speed fiber coming through the county now, which we could use the high-speed fiber obviously as a way of getting these e-commerce jobs. That's what I think our future is going to be, and I also think that it's going to be tourism. And I think there's multiple levels of tourism, not just the ATV stuff, but we're talking about kayaking, we're talking about fishing. For example, I was talking to some gentleman the other day that right here in the city limits is some of the best muskie fishing in the country. And he actually took some individuals from Wisconsin to muskie fish here. So my point is I think that we really need to advertise and drive this stuff home. So that way we can get the outside individuals into Clay County. And it's just not muskie fishing. Talking about, for example, the Ponderosa Pines. Obviously they're having things up there all the time. And I think that we need to advertise this. And this is a selling point for our county to get people in here to, to buy goods and to see what our county holds and the beauty of it.
So ecotourism, water sports.
Yes.
That can lead to some startup companies, small startups.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
And the e-commerce, high-speed internet access.
Yes, sir.
Before we move on, Mr. Johnson, anything you would like on this particular point of question?
Now, Kevin is right, we've already got the high-speed internet here, and I agree with Kevin 100%, that needs to be pushed to full limit. Try to get any job that you probably can out of that.
Mr. Johnson?
Just like I said, I think that we really need to focus on our tourism, and it's a multi-tiered level of tourism. Obviously, like I said, our ATV stuff.
Yes.
I think we could, obviously do kayaking and trails and things of that nature. People are desperate for entertainment.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things I think that we really need to hit on is sell this aspect of things.
People are hungry for entertainment,
Absolutely.
recreation, they'll spend money.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Gentlemen, that concludes round one. We'll go ahead and begin with round two. Mr. Johnson alluded to some of this earlier, but what are one of the two largest challenges facing the county with regard to economic development, and what is your plan to cultivate new opportunities for jobs?
What we're trying to do right now is like Kevin talked about the high-speed internet. We've been working with them, like Windstream, we've got that set up to move into the county. We're working with Al Harvest, trying to get that set up on Elk Mountain. We're working with it's a Harm Cornet name, it's a coal burning facility that we're working with them with. We're trying to work with, right now, at the pallet factory over at Murphy Drinking Place. We're trying to get them jobs now hard $150, and they pay anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour to come here. We got a satellite company we've been working with up there, trying to get that moved up on Elk Mountain. The county has got the plot put in the ground for the first time to make sure the ground don't shift, and it is bill ready. We finally got it bill ready for the first time.
Okay.
And we're trying to get one, and we got the higher power electric up there, and we got working with the city to make sure that the pump station up there, that 10-inch main water line will handle the water to push it to everybody that it needs.
Okay.
And that's a major goal that we got to make sure we got the water there
Yes.
to get everything smoothed up.
Okay. On the agribusiness and apple harvest, we've seen several articles in the news over the last year or so, significant growth in agribusiness.
Yes.
That's something we do very well in eastern Kentucky is agriculture.
Yes.
So I think there's some opportunities there with the apple harvest. Thank you. Mr. Johnson? What are some of the largest challenges facing the county for economic development jobs?
I think that one of our biggest challenges is obviously having I'm going to use the word vocational program, especially if we're going to go towards our e-commerce jobs.
Yes.
For example, like I said, e-commerce, using the high-speed internet. Another big industry that I think that we need to be training our younger people on is apps. Actually, there's a young man from Clay County who actually does this. He is currently living in Lexington, and he actually does healthcare apps for Health UK,
Okay.
and actually there's another hospital in Arizona, but he's self-taught.
Yes.
that's where I think our future is, like I said, is those type of jobs. Really, as far as, and I can think of right off the top of my head, 2 or 3 buildings within 3 miles of us here that we could go in, not a whole lot of remodeling done, run the high-speed fiber in,
Yes.
set up some cubicles if that's what you want to say, and have these jobs within a month and a half. That's what I think, the workforce training aspect.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a little biased on this particular question. I'm a technical high school principal, and technical education is critically important. The hottest degrees in the training in America today is the 2-year associate degree in applied sciences and technical training. So yes, we have an opportunity there,
Absolutely.
and we got to invest in our young people and create those opportunities. Some of that's entrepreneurship, some of that's computer science, utilizing their skill sets
Right.
and their proclivity to technology. So I think we need access to that.
And as a matter of fact, I think I seen Blaine sitting back here. Back in the day, Blaine took a step out and started an internet company here in Clay County that probably most people would have thought he's crazy for doing it, but you can see where we're at now,
Absolutely.
with, as far as our high-speed internet stuff goes. I think it's just a matter of taking the step out and say, this is what we're going to do.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, would you like to add anything before we move on?
No, it's fine.
Mr. Johnson? Round 3. Mr. Johnson, how do we revitalize our parks, increase social and recreational opportunities, and grow this ecotourism? How do we do things like that?
Well, the way you do that right there is now we work with the trail towns, we put the side-by-sides where they can ride them on the roads. We're trying to get the Elk Mountain place, you know, where they can have like carnivals and stuff like that up there to get the county moving forward, to give the young people something to do. And the other thing that we need to do is everybody work together across the board to make sure that everything comes to reality to help each other
Yes.
in any way that we can, you know. The clerk, the sheriff, and whoever, be a team to try to make something, anything that Clay County can get is a plus.
Yes.
And we know we're really going out hard right now, trying to get tourism moving in our county. And that's one good thing about it, and you know, and our sports is a big thing here in the county, you know, good place for the Little League to play ball, boys and girls. That's stuff we got to have to bring people into our county that we don't have, that's going at top notch right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You mentioned team a couple of times, and to be a part of a team is important.
Yes.
One person can't do it all.
Nobody.
One entity, one government agent, one.
No, everybody's got to be a family, work together and try to get this going. Just like me and Kevin, he was sheriff and I was judge, we worked best hand in hand together.
Yes.
Didn't have no problem. And that's the main thing, is everybody work together for a goal to help the people of Clay County.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, I'll repeat the question. How do we revitalize our parks? How do we increase social and recreational opportunities and grow this ecotourism, which we think is a big opportunity for us?
Well, okay, I guess I'll start with tourism, which I think goes back to revitalizing the parks. Like I said, once again, I think that obviously I would like to see a ATV park here. Obviously that would be to be determined where it's at. I know we've got some trailheads. Also, I think we need to educate our landowners. Because a few years ago, unless they've changed it since then, but a few years ago, basically if I came and was riding on your property,
Yes,
for
yes.
example, and I wrecked, well, there was no liability towards you as the landowner.
Yeah.
I think that we need to educate our landowners on that aspect of things, because I think a lot of times people's held up on the ATV aspect of things because they think there's some liability issues there. But I think it's more of an education, mapping out the trails.
Yes.
And once again, going back to what I said earlier, I think that we have to sell this.
Okay.
You know, it's, you know, there's a reason why Walmart advertises on TV. It's because that they're in the sales business.
Yes.
And I think that we ought to become more in the sales business of selling this place.
Yes.
You know, we all know, we are all from here. We all know what Clay County has to offer. But I think we need to sell it to everybody else. And and honestly, it can be done.
So marketing what we have available,
Yes,
enhancing what we have,
Yes.
and building on that.
absolutely.
You talk about this right of way, there's liability protections. Is that something that the executive office to work with the county attorney on and some other entities?
Well, unless they've changed it since 4 years ago, give or take, and don't hold me to the exact date, but, I think that obviously the state passed it, but I think it goes back to obviously working with the county attorney and getting the the i's dotted and the t's crossed and making everybody aware of how it works with their, the liability is not upon the landowner.
So you're talking about education and
Yes.
collaboration to make those opportunities available?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, anything you'd like to add?
Kevin come up with, said a good thing there, but the county has done past things that they can ride their ATVs on the road, and we've got boat divers, and then we're working with the landowners to get permission from the landowners, or they won't be liable for anything, and there'll be an insurance that covers people that say got hurt on Kevin's property or Johnny's property.
Right.
That's what we've been working on, trying to get that took care of.
I think that could help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, no liability, people let you ride on their property if they know that they get hurt, they're not liable.
Choice tag could cost $100,000, otherwise, right? Anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Johnson?
Good.
All right, thank you. Moving right along, let's talk about money for just a moment. Round 4, explain how you prioritize your budget. Everyone knows whether you're in healthcare, education, manufacturing, whatever entity you're involved in, your budget is your priority. Where you put your dollars, where you spend them is your priorities. How do you think about budget appropriation and fiscal stewardship and being thrifty with the taxpayers' money?
But what you gotta do, the taxpayers' money, the county roughly on, say, property tax, Clay County takes in probably 300 and, we get 10%. Ours is about $325,000. We give the sheriff's department a certain amount, we give them a raise this time
Yes.
under the fiscal code. And the county budget altogether is roughly about $13 million. And our jail budget is set up every year, and they stay in the jail budget.
Okay, okay?
And every department has a budget,
Yes, sir.
but, right now, we got $5.2 million worth of FEMA damage right now on these roads. We put $10 million worth of new bridges in, got $10 more million worth of new bridges to put in. We got 17 different roads set up for water line extensions on these. And it's just, it has to be a team effort, everybody working together to make things happen. And it's, and that's what we're trying to do. And the budget, the county I took over, I don't wanna say out loud what happened, everybody knows what situation I took over. We took off with very little, and the county's in pretty well financial shape right now. We got 5.2, as I said, $1 million worth of damage on our roads and bridges and stuff.
Okay.
And we done spent $1,200,000 driving steel, and we come back today, start driving steel, and everybody knows when you work with FEMA, they're very slow about getting your money back in.
Yes.
And that's what we've been doing, and trying to move the county forward as fast as we possibly can.
So your priority is infrastructure development, thriftiness funds. You mentioned maybe some law enforcement supplements, and maybe raise or.
Well, we've helped the sheriff's department from across the board level it out. We help them, we've helped every department at least got 50-cent raise up to 75-cent raise from across the board.
Okay.
Then we got the COVID relief money, the Clay County Fiscal Court, the master's all set down. We give each employee up to 173, work from December 2020 to March of 2020 to December of 2020. We give everybody $5,000, and they took the taxes out, and they cleared $3,100 or $3,200, went back to the people of the county and employees that worked during the COVID time.
Okay, so you invest in your people.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson, as we talk about priorities and budget and where you put your money as your priorities and emphasis areas, how do you look at prioritization of your budget? Where would you spend your funds and being thrifty with taxpayer money?
Okay, well, obviously, one thing is obviously, which I will agree with Judge Johnson, that, he's been dealt a pretty bad hand as far as the floods and things of that nature. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore, not on wood, not on plastic. But I think, first thing I'm gonna say is as the sheriff, I had budgets.
Yes, sir.
And during that time frame that I was sheriff, my budget always balanced to the penny. Usually have a little bit of surplus left over every year. But with that being said, I think that we're going to have to, we're going to have to cut out waste where that is. Obviously, I don't know the complete budget as far as the county goes, but I'm sure there's some things that we can cut out. My number one priority too is to make sure that we fund these volunteer fire departments, to whatever level that we can. Obviously, we can't give them the farm, but maybe we can give them the hog lot. That may sound crazy, but, but we're gonna have to fund these people. Fuel prices, $5 a diesel, gallon of diesel, these fire departments are, having a tough time right now. That's one thing. Next thing is, we're going to prioritize our EMS, okay? We currently are losing paramedics to other counties because our wages are not comparable to wages around us in other areas, such as Laurel and Perry County and a few more. We're going to have to adjust that. If not, we're going to keep losing out on these individuals. Like I said, another thing is we're going to have to get growth. And what I mean by growth is we've lost 6,000 people in the last 10 years, okay? If you sit here and think about that a second, that's 20% of our population. We're going to have to get these people back, all right? When I first became a sheriff, our tax base was $7.1 million. When I left, it was 2.9. Now you're asking what happened to the tax base? Well, it's pretty simple. Our younger population has left. Our older population's gotten older. For example, so if somebody was paying $1,000 tax bill and then they turned 65, well, their tax bill got cut down tremendously. I mean, the current sheriff's here, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We're not replacing our older population with our younger population. And that's what we're going to have to do, is we're going to have growth back here, okay? Young people, any people, if it makes any sense to you, we're going to have to get our population back up. That would help out with the finances of the county and the city and everybody.
So let me reiterate what I think I heard. We're talking about finding efficiencies in the budget.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about investing in our people, whether it be the paramedic, EMS system, fire and rescue,
Right.
and volunteer departments.
Oh, in the jail.
And growth.
We're losing people to jail too, like on top of my head, I'm kind of, but we're losing people to jail too.
Yes.
Whether it's Linda or whoever it may be is the jailer, you train these people, you can't just pull somebody off the street and say, you're in the jail or you're a police, but you're a paramedic. I mean, there's some training along with this. And there's no need of training them up for them to leave. Go Laurel or Perry or whoever it may, wherever it may be. But that's something we gotta do is get the wages competitive.
So I think growth is the key there.
Growth is
That's a very
definitely
important
the
point.
key here. Most definitely the key.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think we did drop below 20,000 citizens.
Yes, well, we're 19 something, but depends on who you talk to. Somebody's trying to also say it's like 20,000, but we're not 300 or 400 people one way or the other.
Good deal. Anything you'd like to add, Mr.
Just
Johnson?
like Kevin's talking about, the fire departments is a key issue in this right here. And the fiscal court passed the thing at the last fiscal court meeting, that we're gonna give each fire department $10,000 when we receive our Harper money, plus the $3,500 they're getting right now. And that'll give them a jump start, and hopefully we can revenue enough money to keep them boosted every year.
Yes.
If as long as the money allows that, that we can help them with. And that'll get your fire department to be $13,500 a year.
Yes.
And there's 10 fire departments in the county.
Mr. Johnson, anything else you'd like to add?
Like I said, we're doing our closing.
Almost.
Okay. Which I'm about fine, or I agree with Lisa.
All right. So, that's round 4, round 5. Mr. Johnson, how important is professional ethics, fairness in hiring practices, and representing the county with integrity important in improving our public image, the positive public perception of our county? Professional ethics, fairness in hiring, and representing our county with integrity. How important is that?
That's very important to me. I mean, you've gotta put people in place that comes to you and say for the job, just like running a piece of equipment. You've gotta watch every guy to make sure that they're not on drugs, make sure they can do the job that they put in for, pay them a good, decent wage, and we furnish the health insurance, retirement, workman's compensation, life insurance on every employee that Clay County Fiscal Court has. Then if you waive the health insurance, the county pays for it. We give each employee that waives the insurance $150 extra a month, one-time deal. And you try to help the lower end of the people to bring them up to level off at a, whole lot better than minimum wage. We try to get them to $10, $11 an hour to balance the budget on everything. And your budget right now, Kevin's about $13.2 million. That's what the budget is in the county. and we try to stay in our budget and have extra access money, because any floods and trees that we've had down, we've had 21 inches of snow this year, we've had $5.2 million worth of flooding, we've had 2 years of bad COVID.
Yes.
And it's just been a nightmare trying to stay on top of the situation to move your county forward where you need to put your money at.
Yes.
But we're proud that we started out with very little, and the county is in pretty good financial shape right now. Every budget's in good financial shape.
Excellent. So, with regard to professional ethics, in the past, we've had a few black eyes in the news for our community, and hopefully we got most of that behind us. And so, professional ethics and integrity, how does that lead to opportunities for jobs?
Well, that leads good opportunities to jobs, Mike, because, if you ain't got a black eye, that you can go out, and if we can revenue these new jobs, like we're talking about coming to Elk Mountain, or wherever we can get, we can recruit people from Laurel County, Lester County, Jackson County to come in and fill these jobs. And the county would see the 1% occupational tax will boost your revenue from, say, $1.2 million right now, probably to $3.2 million. And it's all based on jobs. If every job that we can get is a smart thing, like Kevin was talking about, well, go training these people like from home and doing like they sell stuff and buy stuff on the computers. Well, you've got a lot of people working from home. If you can get that up, like he said, 150, 200 people, look how much more revenue that's gonna bring to your county.
Yes.
Because that is a job.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, professional ethics, fairness in hiring practices, representing the county with integrity, improving the public image and the positive image of our county. How do we do that?
Well, the first thing that I would do is, as far as employees go, I would set a pay scale for what these jobs are. First, a new employee pay scale versus somebody that's been here for 25 years. Obviously, a guy who's been here a month and a half shouldn't be making the same thing as somebody that's been here for 25 years, or who they may be related to. And I'm not throwing that on him, that's just kind of what the public image is.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I think that we all have set up an ethics committee, a non-paid ethics committee, that we'll go back and say, okay, here's what we're going to do ethically.
Yes.
I think going back to what I said originally is I think that we need to sell ourselves. How we get our black eye is we do good things. So the moral of the story is that I think we need to get away from the politics and start having progress. That's because I think the progress goes a whole lot farther than the politic part of it. Okay, so if we're doing good things that people can see, I know there's a company wanting to move in here, and that's one of the big holdups right now. Is actually our image of the politics here. It's the truth. And how do you assure them of that? I don't know how, I think that you work on it.
Right.
And all you can do is say, here's my word, and I hope that you take it. But you prove it by your actions, not your words.
Well, I think you bring up an important point there with the ethics board. One of our neighbors recently was headlines of the state news with some ethics issues and some tourism development dollars. And it went before the scrutiny of the public, and they had to have an ethics board, but it hadn't met in 10 or 12 years.
Right.
So I think an active ethics commission.
And I think too, which I was kind of off the topic, but a economic development task force. I think that's what we need here because it ain't a one-man show. Anybody thinks that running this place is a one-man show, and I'm not saying that Johnny thinks that, so let me clarify that. But it's everybody, and he said that earlier. We're going to have to get ideals from everybody, not just, it ain't just my ideal. It's everybody. If we can come up with these ideals and, promote them and sell them, I guess is the word I'll use, then I think that we can move our county a whole lot forward instead of sitting, kind of being stagnated, in which we get the growth. That's when the growth comes in from population.
Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Johnson?
No, he hit the nail on it. It has to be growth to bring it in, and we cannot let our high school seniors, everybody ain't going to go to college. We would have got to get them a job where they could stay in Clay County.
Absolutely.
And we need to recruit every young person that we possibly can to try to have a job for them. If it's Jackson County, Laurel County, Lester County, wherever surrounding counties.
Yes.
And everybody, if Kevin becomes judge or whatever, everybody has to work together as a team to move your county forward.
Absolutely.
I mean, Linda's been a pleasure, Patrick's been a pleasure to work with, and everybody is, because we all try to bring things together. Our county was in bad shape when we took it over, and we've moved it up a long way. And I don't have a magic wand to fix all my problems.
Sure.
But, you know, Mr. County, what you're talking about seniors, you know, for example, the lineman, school over in Somerset, you know, those are big paying jobs.
Absolutely.
You know, so if we was be fortunate enough, I'm not saying this is a lineman's, you know, school, but, it's high-tech, computer-generated jobs, in my personal opinion, is how we get growth here.
Absolutely.
Because here's why I say that, until we can get a water source, as far as getting, you know, a major factory, and I'm not saying don't think big, but what I'm saying is, we use this for example, if we had a major factory that came on Elk Hill, we couldn't supply them with water right now. I mean, the truth's the truth.
Yes.
Now, do I think we could obviously come up with these e-commerce jobs and do a lot of things with those that doesn't cost a whole lot of, you know, as far as, you know, new water lines and trying to find a new lake, you know, which I'm all for a new lake, by the way, and if anybody can figure out how to get the federal government allows us to do that, I'm all for it. But just, there's things that I think that we do as a unit versus just running all over the place and trying, you know, just individually doing it, is my point.
So to the audience, you know, the gist I'm getting is teamwork and collaboration is gonna make us a lot stronger, a lot better. And I think both these candidates are mentioning that. I think that's a very important point. As we begin to close up, I want to give each candidate an opportunity for their closing statement. Mr. Johnson, your closing remarks.
I just want to thank the people of Clay County. I was served as judge for the last 5 years. I'm starting the 6th year. I took over for the ex-judge, and I have worked around the clock trying to make Clay County better. I've worked with every department that I possibly can, trying to get every job in here that I possibly can. And like Kevin said, I have killed myself trying to get that lake over yonder, over in Redbird, trying to get us a new lake.
Yes.
And they won't, I talked to Hal Rogers, Mitch McConnell, I talked to them all, because the muscles in the thing, and they got enough timber up there to pay for the dam and everything.
Yes.
And just, you know, you come to a standstill. But everybody needs to work together to move your county forward, and then get behind each other and help each other. There's no big Q's or little I's. Everybody puts their britches on the same way. And we need to help everybody that we can help, get many jobs as we can. Because right now, we just bought 2 new ambulances probably a couple years ago. They got 2 brand new ordered. We got a brand new dump truck. I got 2 brand new uses from the state, about 3 brand new dudes.
Okay.
And the county has got the equipment to work with. But I got a backhoe down right now, and it's killing us. We can't get the part for it's been 6 months, we can't get the part. And it's a cat backhoe. And we went around the country trying to get everybody to get pieces.
Absolutely.
But I'm willing to work with anybody that I possibly can. And I've got nothing against Kevin, because many of them run against each other. We've been friends for 25 years probably. And all it is everybody needs to work together, be a family, and move the county forward. And that's the way I look at the situation.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson,
Well,
closing remarks.
I think that if I'm elected county judge, one of my priorities is going to be, I'm going to be in Frankfort as much as possible. I'll give you an example of what I mean by this. When I first, in talking with Congressman Roger, but when I first became sheriff, we had some cruisers that had 300,000 and 400,000 miles on them. And I picked up the phone and I called Hal Rogers' office, and it took me about a month and a half or 2, but I eventually got in to see him. And I went over there and told him my situation. That, hey, we've got junk piles as cruisers. And of course, you know, you have to have a plan. You have to show them why that you need this stuff. And I had a plan, and I showed them why. Well, 3 months later, I had 3 brand new police cruisers. My point of that is, if we ain't asking, we definitely ain't gonna be getting, okay? And I think we need to go ask, and go ask, and go ask again, and keep asking. I have a friend that works at the Cumberland Valley Ad Board. There's nobody been over there to ask for any money. Of course, she's retired since then, but, you know, there's nobody even asked. But if you ain't there asking, they're gonna give it to somebody else. And another thing too, getting back to the budget issue of things, we're also gonna have to set, you know, most grants are a 20% match, okay? And what that means is we're gonna have to set monies to the side too in our budget aspect to come up with that 20%. So the moral of the story is, even if we went out here and got $1 million grant tomorrow, if we don't have the 20% match, it doesn't do us no good to apply for the grant to begin with. So we gotta have these monies in reserve here so we can apply for these grants and bring them back home and do our tourism stuff and our economic development stuff, and just the average run-of-the-mill stuff for playground equipment, so our kids have something to do. You know, there's plenty of grants out for that, but we also gotta have the match money to be able to do that. And if I'm fortunate enough to get elected, like I said, that's my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is progress, not politics. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work to move this place forward, period. And if I don't get elected next time, so be it. But I'm going to do what I can do for the economics and the tourism and our people of this county, so we'll have growth.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. I want to thank each candidate for coming out this evening, sharing your views with the audience and the constituents, the voters of Clay County. I appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you very much. We'll take a short break before our next session.